In Romans 7, the Apostle Paul addresses the relationship between the law and grace. He highlights the transformative powers of Christ's death and resurrection. This is, as you recall, the period before the compilation of the Bible. Paul has had to confront the religious influencers and the misconceptions of his time. For example, many Jewish Christians believed that strict adherence to the Mosaic law was a means of righteousness and favor with God. Paul, once a Pharisee who prided himself on the outward obedience to the law, came to the realization that it was futile to try to seek righteousness through legalism. He met Christ and discovered that his external obedience masked a heart tainted with pride and sin. This personal transformation became the backdrop for his teachings on the law's role in the life of a believer. Paul's prior life as a Pharisee makes him sort of an expert in explaining the relationship between grace and the law. In verses 1 through 6 of our lesson, Paul uses the analogy of marriage to illustrate that believers have died to the law through the death of Jesus Christ. Paul explains that just as a woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives, we were once bound to the law. However, through Christ's death and resurrection, we are set free from the law's condemnation. Now, this does not mean that we are free from moral commandments, but rather we are free from the law as an impersonal system of approaching God. We have grace. Now, grace doesn't mean we are uncontrolled. Our relationship with God is characterized by our love for Him, not mere written duty. We are no longer enslaved by the law, but willingly serve God out of love. The law brought bondage. Our lives should be informed by our relationship with God. Through our union with Christ, we are empowered to bear fruit for God. This fruit includes the attributes of the Spirit, such as love, joy, peace, and self control. Our lives should reflect these qualities. The law could not provide sufficient power for us to overcome sin. It couldn't suddenly, because it's written down, make us good people. But Christ, through the Holy Spirit, through love, equips us to live righteously. Our union with Christ, our loving relationship, brings a transformative power. While we no longer are under the law, it does not grant us license to sin. We are free from the law's condemnation to be enslaved to God in the newness of the Spirit of God. Our union with Christ leads us to live holy. As modern Christians, this lesson has several meanings for us. We must recognize that salvation is by grace through faith, not by our works or efforts to keep the law perfectly. Trying to earn God's favor through legalism is futile and leads to a haughty, better than thou pride. Our relationship with Christ should be characterized by love, not merely duty. We serve Him joyfully because He loves us. He lavishes us with so many blessings. Next, if you think about it, we have been equipped by the Holy Spirit to live righteous lives and to bear the fruit of the Spirit. We no longer need to strive with our own strength to please God, for He gave us the Holy Spirit to inform our steps. Even though we are free from the law's condemnation, we are called to live holy lives. Our union with Christ compels us to pursue holiness as an expression of our love and gratitude. Romans 7 through 1 through 12 teaches us that our union with Christ has brought about a profound transformation in our relationship with God and the law. We are no longer under the bondage of legalism, but we are free to live in love, to bear the fruits of righteousness empowered by the Holy Spirit. This is the understanding that should guide us as we face our daily challenges as modern Christians, striving to live in accordance with God's will and bring honor to God's name. That's the lesson for this week. Have a great week. Bye.